YouTube, we got video from Fern, the CIA's most valuable spy. Let's see.
This is the U.S. Embassy in Tehran.
1979.
A huge crowd of students has gathered outside the gates. They're demanding the extradition of the deposed Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. For decades, he ruled Iran as an authoritarian monarch supported by the United States. The students are radical supporters of the leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Khomeini. They've been protesting here for weeks. But today is different. Suddenly, they begin to climb the walls. Hundreds storm the embassy grounds.
I've seen this
before. The security guards are authorized to fire their weapons. The protesters meet almost no resistance and they quickly break in. They capture 52 U.S. citizens and hold them hostage for 400 days.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard about. Yeah, the U.S. citizens. I remember this.
Captives, it's a nightmare. For the U.S., it's the start of a major international crisis. In the months that follow, U.S. President Jimmy Carter tries to negotiate with the Iranian militants. But Iran is now run by Ayatollah Khomeini, who openly supports the hostage takers. The negotiations
I'm about to say, weren't they like
Algeria, which acts as a mediator. Communication between Algeria and Iran.
I'm about to say, weren't the American citizens that did that? I think they was like living there, like, you know, without any problem, like, you know, like living there freely.
Encrypted. No one can read or listen in. Or so they believe. But after every exchange, Carter knows exactly what the Iranians are saying behind closed doors. How is that possible?
So who was the spy? Who was
the answer leads to Switzerland.
Who was the informant?
And a company called Crypto AG.
Okay.
The devices it builds are at the center of a clandestine operation that shaped world politics for over half a century. Because Crypto AG has two secret co-owners, the CIA and Germany's Federal Intelligence Service, the BND.
Americans have been the victims of a terrorist attack in Europe.
To me, the most surprising thing here was the enormity of this.
A series of strikes against the headquarters.
Argentina launched the invasion of the Falkland Islands.
This is Operation Rubicon, one of the biggest intelligence coups of the 20th century.
Oh boy. It's getting interesting already.
The story was enormous.
See, that's why I like Fern videos, boy. He know how to loop you in within like a minute. We 2 minutes in, I already want to know more. Man, Fern the GOAT when it comes to information type of videos.
The Washington Post, I mean, for days and days. For, I think, almost a week, it was one of the most read stories on our website. And my interactions with U.S. intelligence people throughout this period were kind of funny. Like, some of them were like, I wish you hadn't done that. But others were like, yeah, how cool. Like, we were part of that. That's what we do.
This is Greg Miller. He's an investigative journalist with the Washington Post. We traveled to London to interview him for this video. Back in 2020, he broke the story that our research for this video is based on, together with the German and Swiss broadcasters ZDF and SRF. Links are in the description. Chapter 1, The Handshake. Operation Rubicon begins with a friendship. Washington, D.C., 1951.
What's this music?
Exclusive, members-only Cosmos Club.
Okay.
This man, William Friedman, is one of the American military's leading
Armed Forces security agent, okay.
Cryptologists. The man in front of him is Boris Hagelin, an entrepreneur and inventor from Sweden. Friedman and Hagelin are business partners. More importantly, they're close friends. They write each other frequently and bond over... their shared background and interests. Both were born in pre-Soviet Russia. Both love tinkering, and both are deeply fascinated by cryptology, the science of encoding and decoding information. Boris Hagelin...
Well, I took a coding class when I was in, what was it, like 9th grade or something? 9th or 10th grade? But that might have been the most boring thing ever.
Develops cipher machines, small mechanical devices that allow users to write and read secret messages. His biggest customer is the U.S. military.
Yep.
During World War II, Hagelin sells them the M209, a compact, portable cipher machine that doesn't require electricity. Just bigger than a lunchbox, it comes with a lightweight canvas bag that soldiers can easily attach to their gear. American troops frequently use it in the field to quickly exchange encrypted messages. The U.S. produces more than 140,000 units, and Hagelin becomes a millionaire.
Okay.
But after World War II, business suddenly slows down. So he needs new customers.
Friedman realizes Hagelin is a good enough businessman that if the United
States... You need a bigger market.
He's going to start selling cryptological devices
To
to
the-
many governments around the world. And the United States will not be able to read these
you don't want-
communications, will be
you don't
blind
want
and
they getting in
deaf
the wrong
to
hand.
what other countries are doing and saying.
Yeah.
And so this
That puts you at a
leads to
disadvantage.
all these conversations in Washington about what to do about it.
Friedman meets Hagelin for dinner and makes him an offer.
So
on
now he
behalf
got
of
the leverage.
CIA. From now on, Hagelin's high-security cipher machines will only be sold to selected countries hand-picked by the Americans.
Okay.
The rest of the world will get older models that are much easier to crack.
All right.
To compensate for the business he loses, Hagelin is said to have received $700,000. A year later, he moves his
700,000?
Swedish company to a
What year was this? 700,000 for like, cause bro, this is extremely valuable information, especially when the government is involved. Something that the government wants. Listen, brother, that's very valuable. What year was this again? Hold on, we at the 5-minute mark. What year was this? What year?
Hold
on.
For I think
Washington Post. We travel and meet for dinner at the
19
Equicon
what?
begins with a friendship.
Hold on.
Washington, D.C.,
1951. Okay, we at the 5-minute mark. 1951.
And not just any cipher machine.
And how much money?
Chapter. But is it really? He releases the CX50, where he's
Wait. Did I skip up
to
too far?
compensate. The rest of the world will get older to selected. From now on, Hagelin's high-security cipher machines will only be sold to selected countries hand-picked by the Americans. The rest of the world will get older models that are much easier to crack. To compensate for the business he loses, Hagelin is said to have received $700,000.
Okay, how much money is that in $700,000 in 1951 to now? $8 million. Oh, huh. Okay. It says $700,000 in 1954 is equivalent to approximately $8,212,000. Alright. Okay. Well, when you put it like that, I'm gonna still need some more money for that valuable information. I'm gonna just be real with you. We're going let's boost them numbers up just a little bit.
A year later, he moves his Swedish company to a Swiss town called Zug, where he founds Crypto AG. That same year, the company releases the CX52.
Okay.
This new cipher machine is so complex, many believe it's uncrackable. But is it really?
No.
Chapter 2. Crypto. To understand how secret messages are encrypted, we track down a real cipher machine. And not just any cipher machine, an actual model developed by Hagelin.
Das ist eine CX52-Maschine von der Crypto AG.
Cryptography turns an ordinary sentence like this one into an illegible jumble of letters. Each letter in a message is replaced by another, seemingly at random. So while anyone can read the encrypted message, they won't actually understand it unless they have the right key. Say we want to send an encrypted message from Amsterdam to Berlin.
There's so many different
The
combinations.
first thing we need is the same type of machine on both ends. Then, both sides need to know the daily key, which is basically the machine's default setting for the day. It determines how the key wheels in the revolving drum are configured. The so-called message key is a short-term setting for each specific message and determines which letter or number is on top of each key wheel.
Yeah, see,
To
that
encrypt
much
the
thinking
word,
would
you select
give
each
my
of the letters on this disk
brain
one at a time. Each time, you pull this
a
crank.
headache. Like,
This is what it looks like inside the machine. Several wheels start to move. Each time you do this, the machine generates a new and seemingly random code. But mechanical systems like this one don't produce arbitrary results. They can't. Most follow fixed instructions or algorithms and are designed to eliminate randomness. So no matter how complex the algorithms are, they can usually be reproduced.
oh,
Inside the machine, each letter is assigned a new letter. A rotating drum prints this new letter onto a strip of paper, which will eventually carry the whole secret message.
Also wir müssen uns jetzt ein Wort überlegen, dann können wir das mal verschlüsseln.
Let's try this one.
cheers. All right, let's see how this works.
That's our input word in encrypted form. Now we can send this super secret message to its recipient in Berlin.
Yeah, because
by
there's no
radio
way.
form.
I'm about to say, simply based on the fact that there are a ton of letters in here in the encrypted message that's not even in here, I wouldn't even know. Look, chairs. The only thing in there is CNR. Outside of that, you really don't have anything else. So if you would have just put this in front of my face and told me to guess what I think it means, that could mean who knows what. And the first thing that I feel like anybody would do, they would try to find different combinations of the words that are available. Whole time, so it's like these are just put there to distract you, basically, because chairs, there are so many letters inside chairs that are not even on here.
In encrypted form. Now we can send this super secret message to its recipient in Berlin, by radio, for example, using Morse code. To decrypt it, the receiver also needs a CX52 set to the same daily key and message key.
Oh, wow.
Both sides must have previously agreed on a system that allows them to use the exact same keys and settings.
I was about to say,
Most of
because
the
if
time,
that's
they
just like
probably
random,
use
I
a
was about to
shared key
say.
sheet indicating the correct settings for each day. This mode selector lets you switch between D and C. D is for deciphering and C is for ciphering.
Okay.
When we enter the coded word letter by letter, the machine recreates the original top secret message. Cheers. Yeah, it's not exactly state secrets. We're YouTubers, all right? The CX52 comes in different variants, which differ mainly in their shape, color, and controls. They all work the same way, except one. The one-time pad version is so secure that not even the NSA can crack it.
Really?
Instead of the usual key wheels, this model runs a perforated paper strip through the machine. The sequence of these holes is truly random, making each pattern completely unique. To read one of these encrypted messages, the receiver needs a paper strip identical to the one used by the sender.
What?
This is essentially a temporary key to the lock. It's only ever used once and is destroyed immediately after.
Oh, wow.
So, is your spidey sense tingling? All right, before you go all sponsor block, check this out for a second.
No.
A Cold War encryption machine is on your mind, and you're worried about ops intercepting your communications. I get it. But the more likely threat, it's online. No paper slip or cipher machine required. Your personal data might be out there, just harvesting.
Oh, so what is this, a VPN ad? You know what, Fern, I love your videos and everything, but listen, we trying
Of countries.
to find more information about the CIA's most valuable spy.
And he faithfully
We gotta hear
honors
about
his
this.
agreement with Friedman and the United States. The new machines are also sold only to select states. But
Over time, that starts to break down. Hagelin becomes frustrated by this. He's giving up lots of money. He's leaving lots of sales untapped because of his willingness to abide by these constraints that the Americans
Because I mean, he has an extremely valuable asset that could be useful to everyone. Imagine, I'm gonna just put this in like basketball, like, you know, imagine you had like a shoe, like a basketball shoe, and only like one NBA team wanted that, like one NBA team, they wanted it to just be theirs, like exclusive to only them. But in reality, you have all 29 other NBA teams that are like on standby that would love to have a shoe personalized by you or anything like that. It's gonna get to a point where it's like, hey, either the US, y'all up the price of like the amount of profit that y'all are giving me, or I'm gonna expand into these other markets that are still untapped. Because it's like he's how would I say, not necessarily putting himself at a disadvantage, but like he's hurting his own pockets by not expanding. And if the American military or government is not bringing in enough money for him, he knows he could definitely make a ton more money by just giving out this technology to so many different countries.
Ultimately, Washington realizes this and decides to make this a more formal arrangement with Hagelin.
Okay.
the
So
CIA
what they do?
makes him another offer.
Okay.
They'll help market his crypto devices worldwide, and not just to CIA-approved countries. They want as many governments as possible to exclusively use Hagelin cipher machines.
Okay.
But there's a catch.
Yes, what
The
is it?
CIA demands he
I'm about to say,
produce
they're not just going to let anybody get that. Let me see.
2 different versions of the CX-52.
Ah.
The first is a highly secure, essentially unbreakable variant reserved for countries the U.S. considers friendly.
Uh-huh.
Everyone
So all
else
their
gets
allies.
a weaker version that the CIA can easily crack.
Sound like a good deal to me. Let's see. So what
Hagelin
went wrong?
once again agrees. And once again,
Did
he
anything
doesn't
go
walk
wrong?
away empty-handed.
Okay.
This time, he reportedly receives nearly $900,000, which would be roughly $10 million today.
10 mil. Oh, boy, 10 million, yeah.
On top of that, he's said to have received $70,000 a year as a retainer.
Oh, yeah, hey. Okay. Now we talking.
Hagelin at that point crosses an important threshold. He's
Now we
gone
talking.
from being sort of a passive but important ally of the West, Western governments led by the United States, to an active participant on the payroll of U.S. intelligence, an asset.
Yup.
For many years, journalists and investigators wondered how exactly the machines were manipulated. It's almost impossible to tell from the outside. That's because there isn't just one machine, but many different versions with different internal settings. In 2021, Dutch IT expert Bart Wessel compared several CX-52s with older C-52 models. And he noticed something strange.
What?
The bars in the revolving drum have tiny metal lugs attached to them. These lugs slide to the left and determine whether or not the key wheels advance.
Okay.
But in older C-52 models, 30 of the 32 bars are completely blocked, held in place by 6 metal discs. Only the last 2 slide bars can actually move. The rest are effectively dead. As a result, the C-52 produces far simpler and more predictable patterns.
I was about to say,
and
that makes it more
therefore much
predictable.
weaker encryption. So crypto and the CIA either equipped customers with outdated crackable models like the C-52, or they gave them modern CX-52s secretly configured to behave like older, less secure models. Another way to make the machines less secure is to prevent them from being used properly. The NSA reportedly created different manuals for different customers. Some may have been deliberately rigged. Users believed their machine was operating securely, but they were like locks that clicked but never really snapped shut.
Wow, that's... Oh, okay.
Our machine is one of these less secure variants.
Okay.
Our message from Amsterdam to Berlin probably would have been decrypted quickly. By the late 1960s, Boris Hagelin is almost 80 years old. Crypto AG has grown to 180 employees.
Damn.
Hagelin is looking to get out of his business. He's getting older. He wants to retire.
Yeah, they said... What they say, how old he was? 80 or something?
Would have been decrypted quickly.
What did they say?
By the late 1960s, Boris Hagelin is almost 80 years old.
Yeah, almost 80. It's still working that job. Damn, I would have been wanting to get out as well.
He's getting older.
They still got that man working?
He wants to retire. He wants to secure the future
Especially
of
the type of job he got working for the government.
this company.
Only one of his children is interested in cryptography. His youngest son, Bo Hagelin Jr.
So you can pass it on to
Bo
him.
works at crypto and is actively involved in developing new machines. He also handles the company's business in North and South America.
Okay.
Bo has yet to prove himself, but eventually Hagelin Sr. would like to hand his son control over the company.
All right.
But the CIA doesn't trust him. They think he's unpredictable. And while Bo knows the company's dark secret, he doesn't approve. At the same time, other players are starting to take an interest in crypto.
It's true that other countries and other governments, especially
This might be
allied
where it gets
governments,
interesting.
are to certain degrees aware of what's happening here. But they're sharing that intelligence with their closest allies at various times, including the Brits, at times including the French, and sometimes the Germans. They're not always saying where this information comes from, but these other governments are putting 2 and 2 together, starting to figure out what this is. And they're jealous.
Hagelin's son is looking less and less like his father's successor. Now married, he's struggling financially. He asks for advances on his inheritance often enough
And this is where it comes into play.
that his father finally refuses.
Money, money causes a bunch of this, The pockets get low, you start getting desperate.
The CIA is concerned too. They suspect Bo may have been talking about the secret operation and worry he might refuse to continue selling the manipulated machines. Bo's relationships with the CIA and his father start to fray. Meanwhile, Germany's intelligence service, the BND, proposes a deal to the CIA.
Okay.
In June 1970, each agency purchases half of Crypto AG. Hagelin receives 25 million Swiss francs in 3 installments. According to the Washington Post, that amounts to over $5.75 million at the time.
All right.
Bo remains with the company.
Damn, that's a ton of money today.
According to the same
5.75
report,
million at
the
the
deal is
time?
routed through a law firm in the European microstate of Liechtenstein. The use of anonymous shell companies helps the 2 intelligence agencies conceal their ownership. The BND and the CIA now have full control over Crypto AG, and almost no one knows. Hagelin makes a fortune with this deal. But just a few months later, all that money probably seems virtually worthless.
How so?
Bo
because
dies
he's
in
older?
a car accident near Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
Hagelin is devastated. Many years later, a former crypto employee will publicly claim the car accident was actually a targeted attack. He also claims that even Hagelin Sr. had doubts about the crash and that he had the case investigated, but nothing ever came of it. A journalist and intelligence expert tells us that at the time, even the BND's vice president suspected Bo's death wasn't an accident. American intelligence services may have feared that Bo would use his role as sales manager for Latin America to stop selling manipulated machines
That makes a lot of sense.
in the region. No evidence has surfaced to support these claims. After his son's death, Boris Hagelin withdraws from the company.
Yeah.
After the takeover by the BND and the CIA in 1970, business at Crypto AG takes off. This leaked CIA document shows sales surging. In the first 5 years alone, revenue jumps from 15 to 51 million Swiss francs. Governments around the world trust crypto machines with their most sensitive communications.
This becomes a real point of tension in this operation between the United States and the Germans. From the minute the Germans are involved, they're often deeply troubled by what they perceive as American greed. Americans, they think, the Germans think, are willing to trick, dupe, exploit anybody. The Germans are less comfortable with that, partly because of their World War II history, partly because they're trying to build new alliances in Europe at this time. They don't want to make enemies across Europe. The Americans don't really care as much.
In the end, the Germans' discomfort
So both sides are uncomfortable with one another and feel like they can't trust one another.
doesn't matter. The secret intelligence operation is just getting started. Its original code name
World Cup, what the World Cup got to do with this?
is Thesaurus.
Chapter 3.
Let's
The
see.
Operation.
April 5, 1986,
Okay.
West Berlin. The vibes at the LaBelle nightclub are especially good tonight. Hundreds of people are dancing to funk and soul.
Yeah.
The club is popular with the American soldiers stationed in the city. But sometime after midnight, a bomb explodes inside the club.
What? Who was in that club? Who was in the club? That's very important to know. Who was in the club? They're not just gonna bomb a random club.
2 people die at the scene, a woman of Turkish descent and an American soldier. Another dies from his injuries at the hospital. Exact numbers vary depending on the source, but more than 100 are wounded, at least 28 of them severely.
Damn.
It's one of the most severe attacks against Americans on German soil. The White House responds within
Who were
days.
those Americans is the
President
question.
Reagan publicly blames Libya for the attack. The country's leader, Muammar Gaddafi, is accused of ordering the bombing.
Were they really
But how
though,
could he
or is that just
possibly know that
propaganda?
so quickly?
That's what I'm saying. What's going on here?
Libya uses the weaker Hagelin machines to encrypt its communications. The BND and the CIA can simply read along. Reagan says Libya's embassy in East Berlin
Right where
received
they
the
want
order
them.
to carry out the attack about a week before it happened.
Yup. Okay. Now it's all coming back. It's coming full circle. You know, they set them up with the weak weak technology.
According to
Okay.
a 2020 report by German broadcaster ZDF, it remains unclear whether the intelligence agencies also knew about the plans before the attack.
That's a good point. If they knew about that, because if they knew about it, they could have stopped it. But did they wait until it happened before they could retaliate, like have a reason to retaliate because they didn't want to leak? I guess that they knew this information about them.
Comes 10 days.
Which would kind of make sense because you wouldn't, if you have information on someone or like at least hidden information or you're spying on them, you wouldn't want them to know that you're spying. So like if the US did attack beforehand, that might have, drew a lot of suspicion on why did they attack them, and especially across like media, the news and stuff. They'd be like, well, why did the US just randomly attack them or something?
Days later. According to media reports, the United States bombed several targets in Libya, killing at least 60
I'm about to say, and Libya would have probably called them. They would be like, wait a minute, how did the US know that we were about to attack them or whatever? But
people. In the 1980s, the operation's codename is changed from Thesaurus to Rubicon. It's a reference to the phrase crossing the Rubicon, which means
What is
passing
that
the
phrase?
point of no return. The intelligence agencies crossed that line for good when they began actively influencing a war. The conflict revolves around this archipelago in the South Atlantic, a few hundred kilometers off the coast of Argentina. Britain has controlled the Falkland Islands since the 19th century, but Argentina has long claimed them as its own. Early
so
one
this is where
Friday morning
conflict
in
starts.
1982, Argentine forces attempt to seize the islands. The British garrison of just 68 men faces hundreds of Argentinian soldiers. Eventually, they're forced to surrender.
Oh, so Argentina
But
took
Britain
over.
quickly sends reinforcements, and the two countries fight for over
Ooh.
70 days. The Argentinians have no clue their cipher machines are compromised.
Oh, yeah.
Their radio comms are being intercepted, and both the
Damn.
Americans and Germans
Oh, that's
are able-
crazy. Yo, that's crazy. I mean, it's like being on speaker and not knowing who on the other end. Like, you think you... It's like if you're on speaker... Or, not speaker, but like you're on the phone with your friend. Y'all are gossiping or whatever, you know, telling each other information. Whole time your friend on the other end, they got you on speakerphone with the person who y'all, you know, gossiping about. And you'll just never know.
to decrypt them.
That's crazy. So like they had control of the war, but the entire time, you know, their calls are getting intercepted by the U.S. Government.
Relevant to the Falklands War is quietly funneled to Britain.
Yup.
On May 2, a British submarine, the HMS Conqueror, sneaks up on an Argentine cruiser, the Belgrano. Once it's within range, it launches its torpedoes, which hit home.
Yeah, and the whole time Argentina, they think they got this whole thing, you know, settled out. They like, man, ain't no way Britain gonna be able to beat us in this war. We got everything under control. Little did they know.
More than 300 Argentinian soldiers die in the attack.
Damn.
Intercepted radio communications played a crucial role in the decision to destroy the ship. On June 14, 1982, Britain officially wins the war.
Wow.
Around 900 people have lost their
Look at
lives.
that.
The Falkland Islands remain under British control.
I mean, that just goes to
According to
show
Swiss
how
broadcast-
important technology is when it comes to, you know, war in general. I mean, technology in general, like, to society, but, like, in war, like, in the case of war, bro. Because without that, I mean, Argentina looked like they had everything, you know, secured. It looked like they had full control, which they did. Then that's when, you know, the entire time, their communication was getting intercepted by opposing governments, and they used it against them.
Or SRF, the intercepted messages were decisive for the outcome of the war.
Many of the countries that bought crypto devices were in Latin America, and this is during a period where Latin America is in turmoil. There are military coups after military coups. There are death squads. There are murders, state-sponsored murders and suppression
What?
of populations. And there are still huge questions.
1978, 4 years before the Falklands War. Argentina is hosting the FIFA World Cup. West Germany is playing Austria in the second group stage. The world is watching as the German national team fights to defend its title. But just 11 kilometers away,
But so what's going
people
on?
are fighting for their lives.
Yikes.
This is a brutal detention center for opponents of the Argentine military junta. At the time, the country is ruled by a ruthless dictatorship.
What
Critics
the-
of the regime are abducted, tortured, and killed. Campo de la Ribera is one of the junta's most important detention centers in the region. In total, 4,000 people are brought here over the
That's
years.
crazy.
The Argentine military uses crypto devices to encrypt its communications. But at a spy station in northern Germany, their messages are intercepted and deciphered by the BND. What they discover is horrifying.
What did they
Military
discover?
planes are flying thousands of dissidents out over the Atlantic Ocean, then dropping them to their deaths. And Germany and the
What?
US simply look on, essentially bystanders as an estimated 30,000 people become victims of the dictatorship.
What?
Ahead of the World
Dropping
Cup,
them to
several
their
human
death?
rights organizations call for a boycott of the event, but West Germany participates anyway. Argentina ends up winning the tournament. Why didn't the intelligence agencies do anything?
This is
I'm wondering
always
the
a
same
dilemma
thing.
for intelligence agencies. You learn information through delicate programs. Do you act on it? Because if you do, you risk ruining that access. going
Exactly.
forward. Risk
That's what I just said earlier about the who was it? Was it the U.S. that I forgot who it was that found out information on the other.
exposing what let you obtain that secret in the first place.
Oh yeah,
Besides,
when Britain got that information on Argentina.
Still in the middle of the
You
Cold
don't
War.
want you know, act in a way where it's clear that you done got some type of information from another source, then all communications are cut off between the third party, and it puts them at risk because now all eyes are on them because they decided to join in.
Alliances with dictators.
Because it's like if you tell information to one person and then another person, and you tell information to person B, then person B tells information to person C. Person C goes around spreading that information, and now you're like, wait a minute, I only told this information to person B. So what person C would want to do if they want to continue to get that information, they would not be giving away their sources. But in this case, yeah.
Military rulers, including those that were committing atrocities against their own citizens. At times, these are things that the American government was willing to accept to prevent these countries from falling into communist regimes.
According to the investigation by the Washington Post and ZDF, Crypto AG did business with more than 100 countries.
Damn.
62 of them could be identified. Besides NATO member states, many of the customers were countries in South America and Africa. Even the Vatican used crypto machines, and its communications were intercepted too. For a long time, crypto devices inspired a high level of trust. A company from Switzerland just had to be neutral, right? But after nearly 30 years, some customers began to question the security of their cipher machines. When the operation started in the early 1970s, only a handful of people knew about crypto's secret deal. One was Peter Frutiger, possibly the company's most important engineer.
Okay.
In 2020, he gave an interview to the Swiss newspaper NZZ. Until 1977, Frutiger was the company's deputy director and head of development. He was also the link between Crypto AG and the two intelligence agencies. He's said to have made dozens of visits to the BND headquarters near Munich and regular trips to the US to meet with intelligence officials.
So this is the man with all the power.
At first, he doesn't have a problem keeping crypto secret. He thinks he's on the right side of history, aiding in the grand fight against the forces of evil in the world. But a high-profile client makes him doubt this stance. Of all people, it's an autocrat, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran. A few years before his dramatic downfall, the Shah wants to upgrade his Swiss village security with new cipher technology from crypto. He's friends with Frutiger, who takes care of the job personally. During the job, the two men talk. Suddenly, the Shah says he's heard about manipulated cipher machines circulating on the market. But not Hagelin's devices, of course. Those are the only ones left he can trust. The Shah doesn't know that his own machines have been tampered with, but Frutiger does. And he's starting to feel guilty about it. By 1977, his internal conflict reaches a breaking point.
Because his purpose for making it, a positive thing, get information on, your enemies. But now someone who he's an ally with, he provided them with that same technology, who they assume, yes, he just explained this, but I gotta re-explain it because wow, because now he's knowingly giving that same device that he knows is being intercepted by other governments. Damn.
And he confronts crypto's executives. According to him, this leads to irreconcilable differences. Frutiger leaves the company.
Because he can't just straight up say, hey, your phone's tapped or the device is tapped. They're listening to you. As going to cause a whole nother,
contacts the Swiss authorities.
Chaos everywhere. Because everybody else who they done, provided with these devices are going to be like, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, how did you get this information on this and that without, our devices also being tapped? Countries all over are going to then start to think, are our devices tapped as well? And it's just going to be a retaliation all over.
The whistleblower. Many years later, he goes public with his story. But he won't be the first to expose the secret intelligence operation to the world.
It won't be the last either.
Chapter 4. The Downfall. Hans Buehler is considered one of crypto's best salesmen. He travels the world to sell Hagelin's cipher machines. He doesn't know about the company's secret. He has close connections in Iran, and the country is one of crypto's biggest clients. In March 1992, he flies to Tehran for a routine business trip and doesn't come back. Before his return, he's arrested and taken to a military prison. The Iranians interrogate him for months. The regime appears to suspect that Hagelin's machines are rigged. Buehler can hear other inmates being shot and tortured.
Oh my gosh.
The interrogations drag on for hundreds of hours and produce nothing. He really doesn't know anything. After 9 months,
Ain't
crypto
that
pays
crazy?
Iran $1 million ransom to secure Bueller's release. According to the Washington Post, the money is secretly provided by the BND. The CIA refuses to chip in, citing a policy that forbids giving in to ransom demands. Bueller is
Oh yeah,
finally
they
free,
can't.
but
Yeah, they
deeply
can't do that.
traumatized. Crypto no
Yeah, because I remember they can't negotiate with like what terrorists, right? If I'm not mistaken.
longer wants to work with him. And that's when his doubts begin. Were the Iranians right after all? Is crypto really hiding a sinister secret?
Makes you think.
Bueller takes his suspicions to the press, putting Crypto AG in the global spotlight.
Yes, it does.
There's a real complicated moral dimension to
How about I
operations
say
like this. When
that's a
it's-
bad thing by cryptoid or whatever, or crypto, whatever their name is. You don't want to. Your like main asset. You don't want to just throw them to the side because the guy who knows everything about the operations, you get on their bad side. Who knows what they're gonna go out telling? Even if they feel like it's like the littlest piece of information, that could escalate into something so crazy. You don't want to just throw them to the side.
There's a real complicated moral dimension to operations like this when it starts affecting people's lives.
Yeah.
They're pawns. They're used, they're exploited, they're manipulated.
I'm about to say, then that's when they're just
discarded.
disposed. You use them up for all their information to help you out, and then you just throw them to the side. But now, you just throw them to the side like that, they're gonna feel like, wait a minute, I feel betrayed. And now, everything that they done told you, and you done told them that y'all exchanged between one another, is gonna eventually come out because they're gonna be like, wait a minute, I should not be loyal to them after what they did to me.
Right? I mean, Bueller's life was ruined by this.
Yeah.
He's tried many years to get people to believe him that this was an
There's a
elite-
reason why people say keep your friends close, keep enemies closer. While they were not necessarily enemies at the time, but like you don't want to make somebody who was your friend your enemy either, because then, I mean, this happens in real life situations. You have friends that you was close with, and then y'all have like whatever argument, or whatever fallout, and then they start gossiping about you or telling secrets that were only known between the two of y'all. And this is just more impactful on a bigger scale because this is secret, top secret information that can now be exchanged
goal.
between people who you don't want the information to get out to.
Any
They didn't
moral
think that through,
operation.
man. They didn't
Bueller's
think that
statements
through.
are backed by others, including Peter Frutiger,
Yep.
who's still an anonymous source at the time. Several countries respond by canceling their contracts with crypto, including Argentina, Italy, and Egypt. Ironically enough, Iran does not. In fact, the country starts buying new machines almost immediately. Despite multiple investigations into the matter, the case never reaches court. There's not
Okay.
enough solid evidence. But the relationship between the CIA and the BND is damaged for good.
Yeah.
In 1993, the BND pulls out of the operation.
Ain't no recovering from
According
that.
to the Washington Post, the CIA buys up their crypto shares for $17 million. And according to the Post, the operation continues all the way to 2018.
Really?
In 2020, intelligence documents are leaked to the Washington Post and the German and Swiss channels ZDF and SRF. A 96-page CIA report intended for internal use chronicles the entire operation. Its claims are confirmed by an intelligence expert who had access to the document. It's called Minerva, A History. Together, journalists analyzed the report. Greg Miller from the Washington Post is part of that joint effort.
To me, the most surprising thing here was the enormity of this. In some ways, it was not that the U.S. intelligence agency would do something secret and that it would be successful, but that it could do so over a period of many decades.
Yeah,
that it could
this
do
for a long
so
time.
by tricking dozens, over 100 other governments.
Yeah, everybody
Later that
involved.
same year, the story breaks, and the repercussions are surprisingly feeble.
Really?
Germany doesn't launch any investigations or court proceedings. Switzerland opens a formal inquiry, but so far, nothing has come of it. Neither the BND nor the CIA has ever
You would have
publicly
thought there would be
commented
like
on
an
the operation.
entire, like, huge.
The leaked
what-
reports reveal further explosive details.
Yeah, I was.
Like many internal intelligence documents, they contain several code names. Crypto AG is called Minerva, the CIA is
I'm about to
EOS,
say.
and the BND becomes Gamma.
I feel like you would expect something like this to have like a crazy, like response.
And there are also these two code names. Olympia and Navajo refer to two major technology companies, German conglomerate Siemens and American multinational Motorola. According to the Washington Post, Siemens advised crypto on business and technical issues and received 5% of the company's sales in return. The US apparently brought in Motorola later on. Cooperation between private companies and intelligence agencies is nothing unusual. It's even regulated by law.
But the Motorola,
German
that sounds
telecommunications
familiar.
companies are required to cooperate with law enforcement and intelligence agencies to facilitate interception and surveillance. In the United States, certain types of foreign intelligence collection rely on compelled assistance from American telecommunications companies. Despite these leaks, many questions are still unanswered. What information did the intelligence agencies actually intercept?
Well, that's
How
what I wanna know.
exactly did they acquire crypto through the Liechtenstein Trust Company? And what about the allegations that the BND continued intercepting certain communications for years after formally withdrawing from the op? According to the ZDF report, the BND received hints about the World Trade Center attacks before September 11, 2001.
Oh, wow.
One intercepted message allegedly contained information about the future hijackers the BND allegedly didn't pass on in time.
Ain't that something?
Whether that information could have helped prevent the attacks, we'll never know. Even today, we're probably only aware of fragments of the full operation and a fraction of its true scale.
I mean, but as I said earlier in the video, you know, I've seen a lot of times where, you know, certain governments or whatever, they get, you know, like a, what is it called? What is it? A tick, not a tick, but like, you know, they get informed before they get information before something big goes down. And a lot of times they keep it to themselves and allow it to happen or whatever for who knows what reason. But let me see. Can't wait to hear in 20 years about all the CIA backdoors and all the computer. I mean, my brother, you don't have to wait 20 years to listen to that. CIA's most genius invention is something we don't know about yet. I mean, duh. The scariest part isn't that the CIA spied on enemies. It's that 100 governments trusted the same company for... Exactly! 100 governments is the big thing about this. You know how much information that is that's been, you know, released to this thing over that time? 100 governments? First of all, getting a lot of information over that time, over a insane amount of decades. No, like encrypted information, leaked information from even one government over a long span of time is, you know, insane. But 100 governments, who knows what was communicated and intercepted by this thing over that long span of time? There is so much stuff that can happen in 1 year. Imagine over multiple decades. That's crazy. It's terrifying to think that for decades, entire geopolitical conflicts were effectively being steered by intelligence-run shell company in Switzerland. The scale of this operation is honestly difficult to write my hand. Yeah. They had like everybody involved, 100 different countries, bro. Yeah, man. Hey. YouTube though, I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction. This was honestly, you know, very interesting to learn about it and everything like that. But I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, boys and girls. I know this was a long one, but I appreciate y'all for staying with me. Peace out.